Okay, everybody, welcome. Here we are with Live with Janome. I'll be right with you. I'm getting a few last minute things set up as we go here. And we'll see what we have. We have a few people out there. I'm going to get my comments up while we're waiting. And then we will get started with our mystery quilt block number 12. Can't believe it. We are all the way to number 12. So let's see here if I can find our comments. And let's see, where is everything today? Here we go. Let's pull this up. Yeah, there we go. All right, now let's see if I can get the comments going. There we go. All right, good morning, everybody. Let me get the camera on and say a proper hello. Let's see here. We have, hi. Well, welcome everybody. Happy holidays. I do have my countdown tree up and I've been adding things to it. This year I've added a couple other items to it other than the normal ornaments. I received this really cute hippopotamus from my best buddy Dot. Dot's always thinking about me. And Dot sent me some Dottie fabric. Can you believe it? That's crazy. Anyways, oh, is it? Yeah, it is afternoon, but that's okay. Depends on where you are. And I did put the directions up, so if you need to step away and go over to the Janome Artistic Digitizer Facebook page, you'll find them there. I just put them in the comments there, so you can pick them out and print them. I have mine. I haven't really proofread today, so we'll see how that is. Sometimes I hold them back and I proofread. But today we're doing a block, our last block, block number 12 in our series. And I decided I was in a quandary over what to do. Part of me wanted to do a block that you could write a message and, to put a little message on there. And I was thinking of different things to do. And I came up with this idea of making a pocket on our quilt that we could put a message in. So maybe we would put in a message about our quilt, maybe a message we're going to give it to someone, something like that. So today I'm going to show you how to create the well, it's not a little block, the regular size block with a pocket, and it has a flap. And what I did, it's in 3 parts actually. So it has this part here. This is the flap. And I have mine not quite done yet because I want to show you. This is wash away stabilizer. So I will trim this close and then I'll use like a Q-tip or a little bit of a wet cloth to take the extra away. And I do have extra fabric up here. This is stabilizer I'll get rid of. But I do need this extra fabric because it's going to fit in the seam allowance right there when we stitch it down. So it needs to fit in there. Okay, it's actually going to fit so that it goes across here like that, right at the top of those pieces. So I'm going to show you how to create this. And then one thing I also did, I didn't change my bobbin thread, so got to remember to do that, but that's okay. I did add it's hard to see it. Let me see if there it is. I put a snap in there. So this is still open here at the top. So I reached in there and I was able to put a snap. So once I get this on and I have the bottom part, which is going to look like this. This is the bottom part. Okay, once it's all laying together like this, I'll be able to figure out where the other part of that snap goes. All right, so let me show you I have the overhead camera too, so I'm going to get that open. And let me make sure if you have questions as we go along, please post them in the comments and I will try to get to them as I go. Sometimes it's hard for me to read over there while I'm working, but I will either come back afterwards and get that part of it. So let's see, somebody said, oh, for the directions. Hi, Cheryl, welcome. Marty, lots of my buddies are out there today. Are we all rushing around? I have my antlers on. And I think I'm still reeling from being at the cosplay show. I had so much fun at that this weekend and met a ton of people. It was really, really cool. So let me put the camera on so you can see all the blocks and how we're going to put this together. And then I'm going to put the software on and show you how I created it. And if you're new today, the all the information is over on the Janome Artistic Digitizer Facebook page. That's where all the goodies end up. There's still stuff on this page too, but they're all coordinated over there under Guide 5. And if you search the page and put hashtag Guide 5, you'll find all the quilt blocks, videos, and the instruction sheets with them. All right, so here we go. Let me change over to the other camera and we'll see what happens here. Let's go to this one right there. All right, and you can see I have my blocks up, but I don't have all of them. I have a spot. Let's see here. I have a spot right here for one, and let me see if I can move this back. You can kind of see on the side there. They're not in place yet. In January, we're going to get together one last time and put all the blocks together so that you'll have an opportunity to get your blocks stitched over Christmas. And I think it's late January that I'll be doing that. So it's not the beginning of the month, it's towards the end of the month. So you'll have time to finish your blocks. And there's more than 12. So we're 5 by 4. So that's 20 blocks, because some months we did 2. And the first month we did 4 because we had these corner blocks that we did. If you want to wait until January to trim your blocks, you can do that too. That way you have enough fabric around them if we have an oops or a problem. So you can probably, cut them from the outer line here. I'll bring this close. That outside line of the block base, about a ½ inch beyond that, you should be good. And then we'll trim down from there. So that way, if you want to trim a little bit, you can. Just leave some fabric. Don't do them like this. I did a few like this, but you might want to leave some a little bit bigger, okay? But if you've already trimmed them like that, no worries. We've got it all covered. All right, so my design, what happens is once you get those 2 parts done, what you're going to do is stitch what I call the block base. And we're going to create, this is the block base we've been using. It does have under here, let me see if I can pull it up here. It has, well, we can't see it because it's under there. This is the placement line or the outside edge of that block. And then this is the seam line, actually, the line that's in here. So I did a stipple block. And then on your stipple block, you will be placing your pocket, okay? And mine looks wrinkly because I've been handling it, so I'm going to have to give it a really good press before I put it down. But what happens is, and I'm going to see if I can zoom in on this. There we go. And I'll move it up so you can see that part of it. There we go. All right. So on this block, you have this inner line here. That is the seam line, okay? So what you can do, it's a little bit outside the seam line. So you're going to align it on here, just a tad, like an 1/8 outside the line of that block. And I'll push, let me go out a little bit so you can see the bottom. And then, I'm going to trim this right to this edge so I'll be able to look a little closer. And I'm going to push it up so that it comes down here. Now I have a little extra here, so I don't have to use this as the bottom because I don't think I want my pocket. If I put that right at the edge, that's pretty high up there for the pocket, which is fine. And then this piece will go on next. Let's see, where did I put this piece? There it is. Then the flap goes on next. And you're going to put the flap up here. And I'll bring us closer so you can see. The flap needs to align, this part of the flap right here needs to be right on that line. So when I have my wash away on, it will fit right there. And there's a line that's going to stitch across here. We do need extra because we want to have some in the seam allowance, but this is going to be right here on the seam. And it's going to sit just like that. And in fact, that pocket, if it slipped down, it did, that's probably not too bad for where the pocket and the flap are. And I have to see where I put my, so you'll adjust it like that. And I did put my snap in here. So there it is. So I'll figure out where it is down here, and hopefully it's not on one of these pieces. And I will have the snap there. I kind of thought of that at the last minute that I wanted a snap. I think it's going to lay down there without a snap, so you probably won't need the snap. So that's how it's going to go together, and you'll be able to lift this up and put your little message inside there. Okay, so let's go to the software and we'll create the parts that we need for this block. And I did a couple sample things ahead of time. Let me see if I can show them. One of the things I did this one, and it's hard to see because I used a kind of a white thread here. When I made my net fill, I made it very wide apart, and these are actually too big. See, I can get my fingernail under there. So I did it as a sample to see what that looked like, and I wanted to check what these were looking like, and then that my satin stitch was working okay there. So this was a good test because as soon as it started stitching, I knew this was too big, and I fixed it. Sometimes I'm visual. I really have to see what's wrong or what's right in order to know that I've got it. Sometimes, on the screen, we can't always tell on the screen. And then I don't think you can tell here. These circles that I did, these here, I changed my embroidery category to smooth. So there are a lot less stitching in there. These ones are they're white here. These are a little bit heavier, and see, I've been holding them, but they're all kind of pulling too. So they're more dense. These were less dense, which is good because they stitch quicker, and we want to get things done quicker. So let me just double check over here. Oh, Sharon, that's fine. You can, some of the stuff you can recreate with your machine. You don't have to have embroidery. You can, some of the blocks have ways to create them yourself and put them together. So there is that. So let me open the software and we'll go there. Here we are. And I'll pop it up. There we are. Everybody can see. And where did I put, oh, my directions are here. So, and this is our block here of the flap. What I'm going to do is go to my browser, and I want to bring in the block base first that we created with the stipple. Now, all of our blocks that we create, they start with these two pieces over here. This is the placement line, and then this is the tack down of your backing fabric, okay? And then, hi Danielle, and then we added a stipple, and then here, this piece is going to tack down the pocket, and then I created a line at the top here that's going to tack the top of the flap down. And then once we trim all this and we add it into the seam allowance, that line out there will not show. Okay, so to create, this is the easiest one to create because we've already created this block before, the block base. And I just took this portion of the block base and I copy and pasted it. So I went up here, and you could use duplicate if you want to, or copy paste. But let me show you copy paste because it pops it at the bottom, and we're doing a lot of resequencing. So I always like to show that. I'm going to change the color of it. So I'm going to make it purple at this point. And then I'm going to go to properties, and I want to go to fill, and I'm going to fill it with stippling. Okay. There it is. That's really tiny stippling. So I changed my density to 1/4 inch. So I put 0.25 in there, and I'm in inches, but if you're in millimeters, put 0.25 IN and then enter, and it will convert it for you. So there's that portion. And then I made my stitch length. I think I went to, let me see what it is up here. I think it's maybe 3.0 or 3.5. So you highlight there, and this is millimeters because, I'm used to on my machine using millimeters. So I put 3.5 because I'm in inches, and it'll convert it to inches for me. So there's that portion of it. And then I would drag this up so that it would be in this position here because it needs to come after. We have our placement, and then we're going to layer our batting and our top fabric, and it's tack it down here, and then it'll stitch the stippling right here. Now the stippling has a fill and an outline. We don't actually need this outline, So when I select this, I can come over here to my used colors, and I can, since they're both selected, I just can X out here the outline, and it takes away the outline of that, and it's leaving the original. Let me see what's going on here. I got to undo this because I didn't change the color of it. Let's change the color. Let's just do, let's do this brown and this brown. There we go. All right, so I can delete this one. There we go. So now it has the placement, the tack down, just the stipple. Then it has, I used one of these blocks again, the gold one, to do the tack down of my pocket. So I just copy and pasted, and I created this line to stitch it in. And this is the sample one I just showed you. So if you were going to move this up, first I would select it and delete my outline. And then you could just drag it up into position, and it would fit in here in position 3. Okay, I'm not going to drag it up, but that's how you drag. I'm going to delete it because we don't need this purple one since we have that one anyways. Now this line here, to get a nice straight line, one of the things I like to do is turn on my grid. So I went to view and grid, and then I clicked off of here, and I went back to view, and I turned on, and snap is turned on. And the reason I like snap is because, let me get back here, it helps make a super straight line. So I just scrolled up and I went to my digitize outline shape, and I did shift, and I clicked here, and I went, see how it's staying nice and straight on the lines? And I clicked over here and enter or return, and then I have a line. Now that it's there, I can use my arrow keys right here on my computer to move it down into position. So let me just get us here. So I moved it right here, just somewhere between the seam and the outer edge of the block is where it's going to be. And by using your arrow keys, it's easy to move it. I would just slide it down into place. Okay, that part's easy. Everybody have that part? Just give me a couple of thumbs up so you're all good with that. And let's see what else is going on. All right, so let's work on the flap because that's the harder, I think, of the two. So here's my flap, and I'm going to show you how I created it. This design itself came from something else, and I have it here. It's this design here, and I think it's in the CM17, or maybe I got it somewhere. I'm not really sure, but what I did is I used the top part of it, and since it's a raw data, I can't edit nodes, but let's see, I can go back here, edit stitches, as long as I turn on manual up here. And then I can see the little purple things. Let me get in real close so you can see. You see all these? These are the stitches. I can select those stitches like this and delete them to take away the parts I don't want, just like that. So I could just come in here and click away. Just be careful you don't click something you want. And I removed all those parts, and it still kept the integrity of my design. So I went in here, took that away, took these away. Sometimes I had to use the knife and cut them. So I did that. So that's how I got the design all by itself. So I used just the top of this design. I took away, I mean, I could have used the bottom. This would have been easier to get rid of, but I liked the top. This might be interesting though, to use this. So for those of you who don't have this particular design, you can actually use any design, and I'll show you in just a moment. And I took my designs and I put them in this sort of scallop look, and that's where I started. So let's go to a new page. And actually, let me see if I have, I'm going to open the block base. And the reason I want to open this is I want to make sure, for the flap especially, that I'm not right on the edge. I want the flap to be like inside this. I don't want it to get caught in a seam allowance. So I do want to be mindful of that. But to find some neat designs for a curve, you could come up to your tools, clip art library. insert clip art, or you might have some that you like. Down here in the search, you can do sides. And we have these designs here, and I used this one in my other sample. This has an arrow that's pointing to the right. And to get a nice straight design, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my grid. Oh, again, wait a minute. I think it's not going to let me because I have my, because I have a tool. Hang on one second. Let's get the view up here. There it is. All right. I turned on my grid, and I'm going to go back and get that design so you can see what I'm talking about. You can just click and drag to get these designs, but if you want it to be sort of on the straight side when you get it, this is where you want to make sure you're following this arrow. So this is the one I want, and insert. And I have a crosshair, and I'm just going to put my crosshair right on one of the lines, and I'm going to drag straight across like this. So keeping that arrow, see how that blue, I don't want to do this. I want to keep it right on this line like that until it's maybe the size I want. So this is pretty good right here. This design is about an inch high right now, or an inch wide by 1, 2, and a little bit high if you're looking at it that way. So here it is. It's 2 inches this way high and about 1 inch wide. Then I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. There we go. So now my design is straight, and that I think is important when you start out with your making your curve. So I'm going to move it so that it is right on the blue line here. This is the center of my hoop right here. So I know that it's centered. I can also use my drop down center to hoop, and it centers it for me nicely. And now I need to add one on the right and one on the left. So I'm going to use duplicate, and I'm going to just slide it to the side like this, just keeping it in line. And then I want to rotate it up. And here's an easy way to rotate up. Click on your corners like this, and you'll get those rotate arrows. Do you see those little rotate arrows? Are kind of light. You're going to grab this center crosshair. Do you see the center crosshair right here? I'm going to grab it and put it right here because I want my design to rotate right on this corner. And watch what happens when I do that. This is really slick. I'm going to grab this corner and see how it's hinged on there. I can bring it up and down to wherever I want it, like that. And then I'm going to click off of it a minute and take a look at it. And maybe I want to rotate a little bit more. So I'm going to put it back here. Actually, I don't think I want to rotate it. What I want to do is I want to use my arrow key and move it around like this maybe and put it together. And I have that neat little loop on that. And then I'm going to select it again. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to mirror it. I always have trouble with mirror. I never know which one I want. This one. Wait a minute. This one. This one. Here we go. And I'm going to keep it right there. I'm just going to use my arrow keys and slide it over. This keeps everything aligned, so you're not aligning and aligning. And it's going to come right over here. There it is. So now I have this design like that. It doesn't have as much scallop as mine does, but I just want to show you how you can create a design like that. And then I'm going to show you how to create that scallop. So what I want to do next is I'm going to select this. I'm going to actually get rid of my grid for a minute. Oops. And you can use the Control G to get rid of your grid if you want. There it is. And I am clearly inside here, which is fine. It could be a little bit bigger, which is okay. But I just want you to see that I'm still inside there. This is I still need to be over here. So I could select this and I could make it a little wider this way, or I could use my scale, which I really like. Select here, and maybe I want to make it 10% bigger. So I'm going to go 110. There we go. Maybe we'll do 120. That's a little much. So let's go down to 95. There we go. So maybe a little bit more. Let's do 95 again. There we go. We have to leave room for our scallop edge. All right, by using your scale, everything changes equally, which is nice. Yeah, it is helpful to keep that straight. I like when I can find ways to keep things straight. I never, I'm one to get things crooked. So that's always helpful. So let's create that scallop. And you can use your grid if you want to put your grid on. Sometimes that will help you. And what we're going to do is we're going to start on this side with the digitized outline shape. And I'm going to start just above it, maybe in a little bit, like right here. I'm going to hit shift and click so I have a straight corner node. And then I'm just going to click down here. And hang on one second, because this computer is set up differently than my other one. Let's see if I do. Outline shape, and I come over here. And you can come along here, and I used curved nodes on my own. For some reason, this one doesn't like, oh, there they go. I had to double click. Hang on a minute, let me delete back. I must have this set up for, you can set your context menu to do different things when you're using your, well, now it's not doing it. Okay. Or if you want to, let's do this. So you're going to go around, or you can use your freehand shape, which I'm not good with the freehand shape. So you could have to drag along. So see, I'm not good with freehand, but you might be. Let's go back to our outline shape, and you would just outline shape this all the way. And you would want to come up in here. And I'm going to change these to smooth nodes in just a moment, because you're going to have to adjust this anyways. And then I'm going to end on the same line that I did on the far side, and enter, select it. I'm going to do edit nodes, and then I can go back here and I can click on these and do smooth node. And I can change these to like auto smooth nodes if I want. There we go. I can select multiples by holding shift and dragging, and then I can do auto smooth, and it changes a couple at a time. So here we go, like down here, I want to change all of these. So I'm going to hit shift and collect up all of these. Well, not that corner, that one. Let's collect up these. And then right click, auto smooth. So now they're auto smooth. And then I would just go around and make them look nice. Over here, auto smooth. Let's see if I can collect up these ones this way. There we go. And this one needs to be auto smooth. So once I have them, you can fiddle with getting them the perfect distance. This is a really good trick I want to show you. If you select multiples like this, well, I don't want that one over there. Let me get the ones I want. These ones here. And I can move all of those at once, either with my arrow key or with my mouse. So I can easily move nodes in and up that are grouped together. Sometimes it's easier that way to grab a whole bunch of them, and then instead of making all these little tiny moves, is to come in here, grab the ones you need, and then use your mouse or your keyboard. See, I can slide them anyway. So that will help adjust them where you want. So once you create this line, and we're just going to leave it wonky for a moment, this is the line you're going to create all your other pieces off of. So let's select it. I'm going to get rid of my grid for a moment because I don't need it. There we go. And I'm going to change the color of this because I think it's the same, well, it's similar to that color. I'm going to copy and paste it. And then I'm going to change the color of it. So let's make it blue. And you'll see it's right here. So this one here might be my satin stitch. and I'll turn that to satin, and then I can change the width of it here. This is going to be my final stitch, so I want it 3.5 mm, so it's wide enough. There we go. I'll adjust it, so I get all these nice and smooth before I start playing with it. This line here becomes a lot of different lines, okay? We're going to use this for our placement of our fabric when we go to do our flap. So I'm going to move it up here. So after I, let's see, this, we don't need this one here. I'm going to get rid of this one. Whoops. Oh, hang on. Oh dear. There we go. Sorry about that. Hopefully I didn't drop everybody out. Hit the wrong button there. So this one here, we don't need that one here. So I'm going to delete that. So after we have our the block base pieces down here so I can see where we need everything to go, this would stitch next as my placement line. Then I would put my pocket fabric, my flap fabric over this, and I would need to tack it down. So I need a second one. So I can do duplicate. It's going to put it right in line. I'll change color. Let's make it green. So now I have the placement and a tack down. Then then I need to stitch that net fill. So this is how I created the net fill. This is really easy. I have part of a shape already. So I'm just going to copy and paste it so it'll be at the bottom. Let's make it this pink color. And then I'm going to do edit nodes. Remember I said you could grab nodes and move them together? Grab these top nodes and then slide them up. You can use your arrow keys like this. All right, we need them about 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch up a little bit. And then while they're there, I want to join them so I have a full shape. So I'm going to right click and, well, let's see, it did this earlier. Let me go back here and do it again. Let me just select them, right click and add node. Now earlier, that's weird. It just, oh, no, earlier on my other computer, it just joined them. I'm not sure why we're not joining. Let me change this to, what happens if I close outline? Oh, close outline over here. Okay, so now I have a closed shape. So depending on if you're on a Mac, it might be close outline. On a PC, it's going to be join nodes. So you'll have them joined together. Now I have a full shape. I'm going to put it above my embroidery because I want the net to go there. And I'm going to go to properties and fill, and I'm going to use net fill. And then for my net fill, I'm going to make my cell size. I think I made it, I don't know. I have it written down on your sheet. So maybe it's 0.25 or something. Let me see. That might be, there we go. And then I angled it. You can put your mouse in there. There you go. And I wanted it to look like it was cross-hatched. So I wanted to turn them completely so they're 45. So I could put in 45 there too. There we go. We're almost at 45. There we go. And so now I have a nice crosshatch. So in the directions, I give you the number of that. Cell size is 0.138 IN. So let me put that in, 0.138. Where does that leave us? There we go, a little smaller. There we go. So now we have our placement, our tack down of our flap. We're going to do the net fill. Then we're going to do the decorative. And then I did an extra, we're going to take this one here and copy it again. Let's see, let's get off of edit nodes. And we'll do copy paste. We need to add a tack down for the back fabric, which is going to be before this piece here. And that's going to be a new color. So we'll make it this deep wine color. There we go. So after it stitches this, you'll add the back of your flap, and then it'll tack it. You'll trim all your fabrics front and back, and then you'll do your finishing. So not too difficult, right? How's everybody doing? Yeah, see, Jackie, that's great. I'm glad I showed you a few things today. So it looks difficult, but it's really not that hard. All we did was we created that one shape, and from that shape, we created all our other elements. Very, very, very simple. You can look at different ones of these that are more scallopy. There's lots of designs in the clip art library, or you might have something that of your own that you like. So you might want to bring that in. So that's our flap. And I would save that as, I usually try to save as flap 1. And sometimes as I'm going along, if I decide I don't like this design in here or something, I may use this again, but I'll change the name of it to maybe flap 2 so that I have my original, but I have the ones I'm making changes to. That way, if you decide, oh, where's that first one? I liked it better. You have a place to go back to. All right, so now the next one we're going to do is this one here, the dots. And these are giant dots here. And then I did some other ones. These are my smaller dots. There we go. These are smaller. And even that, I think I could go a little bit smaller on there. So let me show you how I did these. This is very easy. We've done this before. I'm going to go to a new page. And I'm actually going to rotate my hoop 90 degrees because it'd just be, well, I guess I could do it with this hoop. I do like working in this other hoop here. Let's see, that hoop, and then I'm just going to do 90. So as long as you have your hoop icon selected down here, you'll have your rotate. And there's my hoop. I need to come to select to turn it off. Now I'm going to make my shape. I need a rectangle, and I'm just going to click and drag like this. And in the directions, it gives you the size of what that rectangle should be. I'm going to leave it just at that size right now. And then I'm going to go back into my shapes and get the ellipse. And I'm going to click and drag a shape. So I have Shift and Command on my Mac, and then I think you can do Shift and Control on a PC. And I'm going to select this. Now this is very big. See, it's 2 by something, 2 by 2, way 2 by 2. I think I want it like 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. There we go. So it changed it for me right there. I have proportional checked, so it did all that together. Now I'm just going to move it closer like this. I want to select both of these, and then I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to Array and then Create Fill from Shapes. We've done this before. There we go. And now I have all these dots in here. It's probably way too many. In my properties, I'm going to go to Fill. And see in properties right here, the first thing we have is Shape Fit. I really want rectangular, so I'm going to do rectangle. And then I'm going to change my spacing here. And I'm going to do my spacing the same between each one. I think I'm going to do 0.75, 3/4 of an inch there. And I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch here. You can pick whatever you like. There we go. And then the slant angle, this is pretty slick when you see this. I'm going to do the slant angle here. See how it's moving the top and bottom row? So I'm going to align them so the bottom and the top row are above each other between here and here. Isn't that cool? So I don't have to move those dots around. They're all in the right place. All's working good. And that piece is pretty much done. There are these little ones on the side here that trimmed off, which I don't want. What I'm going to do is I can delete my outline, and then those little guys there, I have to do separate to, separate to objects, or I can make my block just a little bit smaller. Watch this. If I do it, let's do it 90%. There we go. And now it got rid of those because I just made it smaller. So depending on your size, I don't mind that these are trimmed, and because they're going to go in the in your seam allowance. So this one actually needs uh, a placement line and then a tack down line. So again, if you select your piece here, first of all, I'm going to delete this guy, and I'm also going to delete the outlines for. Oh, I think they're already deleted. Are they deleted? No, I don't want those black outlines. Well, we'll move those. But I'm going to select all of these just to see how big this is. And I'm going to create an outline around it by using another rectangle like this. I'm going to select it. I'm going to delete the inside. Now I have the outside, and I can use that for my placement and a tack down. So I would center everything and have a, uh-oh, hang on. Let me see what's going on. Thank you, Marty. Let me get, here we go. Where is that piece? Hang on one second. Let me go back to the web for a minute. And I'm going to put this down. Hang on. There we go. All right. Let me get the microphone. I think we're having trouble with the microphone in the other position. So let me go here. No, it's showing it's not muted. Can you hear me again? Oh, it's just you. Okay. Typically it's me, Marty. Typically it's me. All right. So let me show you the one that I did so you can see the parts of it. Let me go back to my browser and pull it out. Here we go. So here I have I have an extra line in here. So you can have a placement and a tack down. And then I had an extra line in here. So you actually only need the two inner ones. I was making lines for something else as well. These lines here, you can change the stitch length to 4.0 because they're more of a tack down. That way you may have to you may have to take them out so they're easier to take out. Okay. All right. So then you would just put them all together, and I'm going to go back to the camera angle so you can see the let's see, I'll go back over here and I'll just cover doing this part. So you're going to stitch your stipple base. You're going to stitch your two parts first. I stitched these in my smaller hoop. And you're going to start with your pocket bottom. I would trim it a little bit more, and you're going to align it right in here, like so. You may want to top stitch. I did mention that in there. If you want to top stitch across there, you can. And then I'm just going to use this to align it there. I'm going to align it this way. Once I have it in place, I'll tape it. I'll go back to my machine, and it's going to stitch it and tack it in. Once that's done, I'm going to figure out where I want the top of my pocket to be. This is my seam line right here. That very top piece is my seam line. So this piece right here, across here, this needs to be on the seam line. So I could fold it back this way, right on those little pieces, and lay it up there. I have a hard time reaching because I have to reach around my phone or on my camera. And so then I would stitch that down. Okay, and my pocket needs to come up a bit. There we go. There we are. So all of that goes into place. Once you have that all on, then you can take it out of your hoop and trim it, and you're all set. So an easy way to put like a pocket with a flap, so you can put a little message in your quilt. Okay. If you want to, you can put a snap in here. You might want to put it a little lower. I think this is a little high for mine. I may remove that and put it down here just a little bit further, so I don't have to pull my pocket way up. And then, if you don't want a pocket on there, you can design your 12th block any way you like, sort of like the 12th person on the Seattle Seahawks or whatever. We could do what we want on that. But I thought it was kind of cool. You could put a message. You could put your quilt information on there about how you did it and all of that. Uh-oh, now your comments aren't showing. Oh my gosh. All right, so I'm going to go back to the camera. Here we go. Let's see. All right, here we are. And I wish my little thing, my window is like tiny, tiny now. Let me close this software and we'll see what happens. There we go. All right, so here we are. Do you have any questions on that part of it? So there's the three sections. There's your flap, there's your pocket portion, and you don't have to do dots. If you want to do, maybe you want another embroidery on there, you can do that too. You don't have to go ahead and put the polka dots on there. You know I love polka dots, so that's why I did polka dots. So that would be, maybe you have to swipe left. That's how you get your comments on there, Marty. All right, I think I'm going to let everybody go. What time is it here? Oh, 45 minutes. That's not too bad for me. Now, remember, we'll be back in January. Well, I'm here again tomorrow over on the Continental page doing, oh, if you guys might want to come over, I'm showing how to move if you have multiple designs. If you want to move designs from your machine over to your artistic digitizer and so forth. So we're going to play around with moving designs from place to place. So I'm going to show you a bit about that. That's tomorrow over on the Continental Club page. And then next week I have one live, I can't remember what it is. So one of them is on quilt. I'm doing the Easy Does It quilting. I still have that to do this month. We're going to do edge to edge. So you have to watch for that. And then I'm going to do two different feet, or two different, one is a foot and one is the, what is it called? The ribbon sewing guide, and then the ribbon sewing foot. So I'm going to go over that over in the last 2 weeks here of December. So after Christmas, I'll be back for that. And then we start into January, and we have a great schedule happening for January as well. We start a new monthly feature here for the Artistic Digitizer. We're going to be doing Zipper Pouch of the Month. So every month I'll show you a new project of how to create a zipper pouch in the hoop of your machine. We're going to do different techniques, add different features all throughout the year. So we'll have 12 different pouches, or maybe you'll make multiples of each one. Who knows? So that's what's coming for next year. Everyone have a great holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to all of you. And I will see you I'll see you tomorrow and then again after Christmas. So bye for now, everyone. Have a great day. Get those presents wrapped, and as busy elves that we are. See you all.